said that they took him and they said, "All hail, King of the Jews!" And they took that crown and they took that thing. They didn't set it on top of his head. They took that thing, they put on there, and then they jabbed that thing down in there, and those thorns would pierce into his skull, and the blood would run down. And they brought him out, and they took him, and they strapped the cross piece of his cross that he had on his shoulders. He was so weak he couldn't even walk, and he carried that thing through Jerusalem up to a place called Calvary. So weak he couldn't even get there. And then after he got there, they took and they drove nails. And we had a doctor, Dr. Hudson, was here a couple years ago, and they've done studies and stuff. And most of the time when they do that, they didn't nail him through here. They nailed him through here. It was like through his wrist. And they said that when he drove that through there, that the nerves that's in there. How many has ever hit your funny bone? And you know that pain, that feeling. They said that when you drive them nails, them guys are so good that when they do that, they drive them through there, that whole time that that's doing that, you have that sensation of hitting your funny bone. Now, I don't know. I can see that. And they done that, and then they nailed him to his feet. And they nailed him to a cross. And he hung there. And I said, last week, one of the things, and a lot of times we don't think about that, but the Bible says that what did they do to his clothes? They took all of his clothes off. Can you imagine being on a cross with absolutely nothing on out there, and people coming by and mocking you and making fun of you? Our Lord Jesus Christ has done that for us. And he suffered, and he's down there. And actually, what they say is what actually kills him is when you're down there, that you can't take a breath, because when you're hanging, all the weight, and so you got to take with that nail driven through your foot, and you have to kind of push yourself up in order to take a breath. How many got problems breathing? Sometimes hard to get a breath. Can you imagine being nailed to a cross, beaten like that? Our Lord Jesus Christ done that for us. He went through every bit of that. He paid a price. How's your thing back there saying? He paid a debt
that he did not owe.
He paid a debt that he did not owe. I can't remember the rest of it.
We owed a debt we could not pay.
We owed a debt that we could not pay. And Jesus paid it for us. Amen? Thank you. I know the back of it. I couldn't remember what it was, but I was going to write that down, but I forgot. The Bible says that Jesus Christ was what kind of a person? He was a sinless. He was a perfect lamb. And he done that. He never done a bad thing in his life. And even more of what really gets me is he never had a wrong thought. Can you imagine? He never had a wrong thought. And can you, just imagine. He knew that Judas was going to betray him. He'd already told Judas, what you have to do, go do quickly. And he goes, and they come out, and here comes Judas up to him, and he knows what Judas is going to do. And it amazes me that, through all that stuff, Jesus never even had a wrong thought towards Judas. When that man was coming up there, was going to give him a kiss, and he knew what he was going to go through. But he went through all of that. He went through every bit of that for us. But he knew what was going to happen. He'd already told his disciples, he says, that in how many days? 3 days, I'm going to rise again. And when he rose again, he had a glorified body. His body was able to come up and walk through walls. And you know what? One day, we're going to have the same kind of body. We're going to have the same kind of body. We're going to be able to, I'm going to be wearing glasses just a few years, but I hate these things. I hate them. I love them because it helps me to see. But they're a nuisance. Anybody wears glasses, they're a pain, ain't they? If you're, we have a little lady that comes, she's hard of hearing. One of these days, bless God, she's going to get to heaven, she's going to be able to hear just fine. Because God's going to give her a glorified body. And the thing is, every one of us can have that glorified body. Amen? Every one of us can take that plane air ride to heaven. There's only one thing you have to do. You have to place your faith and trust in the Lord Jesus Christ. You have to believe that Jesus Christ died for you. For you. You have to believe that Jesus Christ, I have to believe that Jesus Christ died for Mike Davis. And I have to place my faith and trust in that. And I have to believe that not only did he die, that he was buried, that he rose from the grave on the third day, just like the Bible said. I believe that. I believe that. And if you believe that too, you place your faith and trust in him, someday too you can go to heaven. Let's stand. Let's stand this morning. We'll sing